We're continuing talking about the middle school and George's experience with Mr. Beebe.
Well, I met Mr. Beebe in 1927. This is in the summer in Kaji. We wanted to play ball. We didn't have a ball or bat, so we went to the Franklin settlement where you get a ball and bat and play. And that was the first day we got to the settlement, the first day that Mr. Beebe started working for Franklin settlement. He just graduated from Notre Dame with a master's degree. And we were the first boys we met in the neighborhood, so he cultivated talk. Got the ball and bat, and he went with us to our neighborhood. In our neighborhood, we had no ball field, no nothing. And because of Mr. B coming in, met my folks, and we talked, and he got to meeting other parents in the neighborhood. Then he found a vacant lot. He got the owner of the lot to agree, and he got suppliers, not suppliers, the big companies to furnish sand and so forth. And he developed a ballpark in a neighborhood that we didn't have. Ballpark, horseshoe pits, and everything else. Sandbox for the kids, but he did that. And the neighborhood had a playground facilities that wasn't there. And he was that instrument, but the only problem was the neighborhood that I lived in were Romanians and Russians and everybody else, but not many Catholics. And he was a Catholic, and he developed our area as well. I mean, organized it. Then he found that across Jefferson Avenue there were the Italians and the Syrians and all those. So he spent more time because there were more people there, and he developed a program for them. So we had ours run, but we had to do it on our own. But he had this one that he really developed, but he utilized us to use both places.
And he's the one who introduced you to your interest in accounting?
Well, Mr. Beebe was one that told me to take college prep, which I did in high school, or in junior high, so I could go to college.
And then after you graduated from high school, half a year early, before the school burned down,
Right.
Then what did you do right after that?
Well, we'll talk to Mr. Beebe, and he was aware of what happened. So he said, why don't you try to get a job at the library? And he made an appointment for me. He wrote me a letter of recommendation. And I went and met the personnel director, Miss Morgan. She read the letter and interviewed me. She said, fine, if anything happens, I'll call you. This was in April. And about 1 or 2 weeks later, I get a call report to work at the public library. And later on, many years later, because that letter that he wrote got me the job at the library. It impressed her so much that within 2 weeks, this during the Depression, you couldn't get jobs, you know. She had all kinds of people applying for a job. So I got a job during the Depression based on his letter to Miss Morgan, who also, and in fact, during the Depression, they were on a budget deal. They didn't have any openings, so they got me on as a part-time. They created part-time jobs, so they hired me at that time. Because of Miss Morgan, she had me working in the preference department, civic department, working for the general office, and I wound up, they created a position as personal apprentice for the librarian, Mr. Strom. So I had all these helping hands that had me, instead of being stuck in it, I was going down for the budget from the library to the city hall to the water board building. I do my shopping. I go to Jail Hudson's, then at the city hall.
You were living large.
Then this one time I had to pick up the budget at the budget director's. It's a big meeting because that's an important, and don't leave until you get that budget. So I'm at the water board building where the board meeting was meeting, And I had to wait till the guy got the meeting over so he could give me the budget to take back. So I'm sitting there waiting, and finally the meeting's over, and he comes, and man, he was well dressed, and gives me the budget, take back to the library. I was really impressed with how well he was dressed.